I realize that there is a lot. There's a lot of details in this course, but it is the sum of all those details that will produce good results. And I realize that it is difficult to justify all the time that you have to spend on all this. Or maybe you have a boss that is questioning why you have to spend all that time on SEO. But think about it. SEO is not just for search. Essentially, what we do with SEO is that we are optimizing your website to become better for users. That is also what Google is trying to match. Google is trying to send search users to the best possible website. And with SEO, we have sort of a roadmap for what to do to make a website better for users. How to technically make it better, how to make it easier to navigate, faster, better content, better navigation, and so on. All the things you're going to learn about in this course. So even if there were no search engine, I would still recommend that you do 80, 90, 95% of what I recommend in this course. There's a few things like metadata, schema data, that you probably wouldn't do if nobody used it like the search engines. But the rest of it, I would highly recommend you do, even if there was no search engines. SEO is a very dynamic trade. Things change a lot over time. What used to work last year or years before that may not work tomorrow. So how do you keep up with all that information? Well, first of all, the important things that may change how we do SEO, I will add to this course. So over time, there will be new lessons and I will keep you informed about these lessons. This is a dynamic format, so I'm not going to stop just with the lessons that I included now. But there are also websites out there that you can follow. I have a few sites that I know and I've been visiting and reading over the years that I think is very good. One of my favorite is Barry Schwartz that maintains his website called SEO Roundtable. He puts out an incredible amount of information, actually several posts every day. But typically these posts are not very long. They're very news oriented. So this happened, Google did this, Google did that. So it's a very fast website to follow. I highly recommend following that. Another site that I've been following a lot over the years is Search Engine Land. They put out a lot of more deep articles, more well-researched articles. But again, just like Barry Schwartz, they know what they're talking about. All the authors on that site, high quality SEOs. So you're not going to find a lot of the gibberish that you find on so many other sites. There's also Search Engine Land. There's some overlap. Some authors are writing articles on both sides, but they're generally both very high quality. Search Engine Land also maintain a list of all the core updates in Google. So you can go through this list and see by date the core updates and comments and links to more discussions about it. There's also some of my competitors as a consultant that put out really great content. And one of them is Only, that started out in Poland, but also have offices in the US now. They're very strong on technical SEO. So all the most nerdy details about what works in Google, you can read about here. Google also have their own information channel. And there's a lot of good information there in general. But the problem is, you have to be aware of this. Google only put out what benefits them. They will only tell you what can help you help them, so to speak. So if there are things that may help you, but Google don't necessarily want you to know about, you're not going to find it there. For example, they put out very little content about link building because they really don't want you that much to do that much link building. But we know it works, so you have to go to other sources to find inspiration for that. There's also tons of forums. Two of the forums that I visited regularly is Webmaster World, which is one of the oldest forums. It's been around forever, and as you can see, there's like hundreds of thousands of posts in there. And if you want to dive deeper into the dark areas of SEO, there's also Black Hat World. There's a lot of affiliate guys in there, a lot of spammers. So be aware. Some of the recommendations they make, some of the tips you can get may get you in trouble with Google, so read it with care. So, what is the future of SEO and how can you keep up with all this? Well, the things that I teach you in this course are the very important elements of SEO. If you follow that, you will be doing better than most websites. I promise you that. But what about AI? Is that going to take over everything? Well, I'm pretty sure that AI is going to play a bigger role in everything we do. It's going to be something you use when you create websites, when you optimize your text, when you work with marketing in general. And also the search engines are implemented AI. We saw Google launching SGE, or Search Generative Experience. They changed it to Overview. And Bing with Copilot and AI have search. And we're going to see a lot of AI-based search. And so you may question, will the normal search results that are based on algorithmic search and crawling the web exist in a few years? I think they will, because the fact is, people still need ways to find information, and all systems can be manipulated, in lack of a better word, or influenced, if you will. All systems can be influenced. All marketing can be optimized. And no matter if it's called search or if it's called AI or whatever it is, there's going to be opportunities to benefit from this in a marketing way. And I promise you, already in this course have some lessons about AI, and I will follow up with all relevant information. Another thing that is also a challenge with SEO is the fact that we're dealing with direct and indirect factors. So what does that mean? Well, it means that if you go, for example, to Google and see what they recommend and see what they tell you is not a factor or is a factor, it's technically correct. I'm not saying Google is lying, but sometimes factors can be indirect and they can be sort of tricky to deal with. A good example is meta descriptions. That is one of the only text elements that does not directly influence ranking. So if you ask Google, does meta descriptions influence ranking? They would say no. But it's not entirely true, because it does indirectly have an influence on rankings, because great meta descriptions can make more people click on your link versus some of the other links. And if more people click on your link instead of the links maybe above you, that can eventually lead to better engagement data and make your site crawl to the top. So that is an indirect ranking factor. Another is video. If you ask Google, will putting video on my website make my website rank better? They will say no. It's just an element like images and text. But the fact is, lots of people like video. So it will, in some cases, make your website better. People will sometimes stay longer on a great site with video, and maybe more people will link to it naturally. So again, indirectly, video can become a ranking factor. I know it's a lot, but don't worry. Take things step by step. In this course, you will learn all the necessary things for you to become much more visible in search. And I'm looking forward to go through all the lessons with you. So I hope you enjoy.